It might audio a bit mad, admits Justina Kowalczyk. She's speaking on her Brexit Carton hidden by the cuisine spreadsheet. In the plasticity canister, that is about the identical amount as a little box of photocopy machine document, she has glass container of restorative water supply, coffee and France jam. Off of the cuisine, in a sideboard she has saved additional glass container of shampoo. They're barely essential for everyday residing, but they're all done in the Europe Association, and Justina says she's just manufacturing. Certainly she'll yet be capable to include her favorite means in the instant ramifications of Brexit. The box was her affiliate's concept. It wasn't love one day we solved Brexit is upcoming, it was more than of a trial rather than a off judgment. She says she's joked on it in her friends, but not everyone has found her box so mad. Everyone thinks on it a slight beat, everyone is a bit nerve, she says. A representative for the division for entering the Europe Association is unambiguous. Human beings really be worried. Proverb how the by the government is preparation for all eventualities but had no plans to stock meal, and human beings should not do so each. This UK has a powerful standard of meal safety constructed on a various band of source consisting powerful national manufacture and imports of tertiary countries. The will go on to be the instance if we keep the EU in or out of a transactions. Production flesh. The UK retailer syndicate says down there is no testimony of any common accumulation of meal. I requested the four persons main supermarkets as Aldi and Lidl if they had seen any testimony, but no of them answered. But on to meal study. Mercy IGD, 2% of shopping in a examination of 1,700 human beings recent monthly told they had begun to stockpile up on meal supplies. It advises compliance at household additional non-perishable items that can be produced rapidly and need slight water supply. Suggestions involve potatoes, eggs, root vegetables, crackers, cottage cheese, breast milk dust, harpoon and instantaneous puree. Canned minnow and broth as well, characteristic as tea and coffee. If the behalf didn't offer it off, the team makes no open secret of the reality how it thinks Brexit will be poor, perhaps though fatal, for the UK, and acknowledges its consultation is relying on the supposition. But are human beings ordered to be concerned on the presence of specific foods while the UK foliage the EU? As a nation we're now hard confident on imports. In reality, fair part of the meal we eat in the UK originates there, in largest of the otherwise imported of Europe, consisting nearly all our crisp harvest and lot of our vegetable culture. Mr. Robb as well acknowledged how, though he hadn't rather understood how confident UK trading in consumer goods is on the Dover-Calais cross, that is urgent for trading in Europe. This largest solitary problem will be in a not deal script, will be which happens in crisp meal, he told. He's all on food stream above national borders. The opportunity of accumulation crisp meal is really bounded. The UK's delivery chain's job on a fair in period base, important stockpile is brought every day, not saved for length periods in warehouses. Mr. Lewis told in the conduct up to Brexit how Tesco was focused on how to provide movements of crisp meal were not detained up. He added how the retail dealer was looking at accumulation grocery means, an accident planner walking up following Yuletide if a transactions is yet not affected. To demonstrate the difficulty, Gender Martin, UK Chief of Retailer at Consulting KPMG, says 290 trucks go viaduct Dover every day fair supply citrus fruits. He says any standard of destruction, such as trucks needing to undergo additional inspections, is potential to include an effect. If we include a not deal script, if down there is destruction, later specific means will not be accessible for a specific time of period, he says. He is, yet, specific how any delivery lack would be just interim, since he's in the interests of all parties to get the delivery circuit as shut to regular as rapidly as probable. Hard to fly and make of in another place is a opportunity, but the would price more than, and he's hardly some countries would include the stockpile in adequate amount to do up the deficit, he says. Meantime, bounded complementary storage area, especially chilled area, in the nation tool supermarkets accumulation consumer goods themselves isn't pragmatic on a big scope. And stock up on crisp meal just isn't probable, says Catherine Shuttleworth, trading and retailer specialist at Agent No. Supermarkets might be capable to stock tins, but not breast milk, cottage cheese, and crisp Harvest. These are the things we buy each day as a nationality, she says. She warns if meal supplies are struck by Brexit, supermarkets are potential to lift prices to try and sluggish consumer demand. Professor Tim Benton, a specialist in meal system of the College of Leeds, as well thinks if the EU and the UK failure to achieve treaty on the regulation of leaving later down there could be considerable interruptions to meal supplies. If destruction were to go on for more than rather than a 1 week, nearly any meal might begin proper hard to receive, he says. As a outcome, he believes how it makes several extent of feeling not to suppose meal supplies will be accessible as regular if considerable structure changes to customs officer regimes at national borders are potential. However, all formal bodies counsel versus accumulation. In the UK retailer syndicate proverb he's no a pragmatic answer to a not deal on Brexit. Justina is not deterred although I fair wish to do certainly I include my favorite things, she says.